So, women from divorced backgrounds off the table.
Well, it's a preference thing.
So off the table. So no divorce and no ugly. That takes care of about 90% of women. What else? Age-wise, you want someone older or younger? 16, 17?
But like around my age.
18?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay. You have money?
no.
Okay, so you need someone who has money. Okay, so that takes about 99% of the women. That's okay. So you're left with 1% of candidates. Blonde, brunette, rational, non-rational. Non-rational is like very creative, very exciting relationship, lots of ups and downs, probably drives you mad, gives you an ulcer or a stroke. She'll probably kill you. No stability. So you want someone rational. That creates stability, but boring. At your age, do you want boredom or you want excitement?
Probably excitement. Like, if I'm being honest. But for this scenario, that sounds okay.
Okay. Do you want a smoker or non-smoker? Drinker?
Not drinker.
Of course. Foreigner? So you don't want to like sit with her and watch porn? Once in a while. Oh. You're very evolved. Okay, I'll keep my eyes open. I know, it's awful. Honest, what are you doing way back there? No, okay. Aside from the bullshit, what are you doing way back there?
No, that's what I said back there.
Your laptop is open?
Oh, it's open.
For what?
Oh, because I have a hard time remembering sometimes what we talk about in the class. So I just want to jot down some.
Why? You don't need to remember it.
Ain't that part of reflection you say? On
No. Reflection is much later.
Okay.
You see, are you single?
No.
But you were at one time.
Yeah, no point, yeah.
So you get into a relationship without using your head. You know, you have fun. You get burnt, or you just get bored. You walk away. You get older, uglier, smellier. You sit back, and then you begin to reflect. That's the way things are with life. You go in head first, or foot first. I don't know which one. And then things don't work out, which is usually the case for all of us. And then something amazing happens. Pain. It's the only way we are forced to think and reflect. Without pain, taking notes means nothing. Pain. If you would have told me you're taking notes because you want to post the questions and then get a grade, I'd understand. But for you to say it's because you want to remember something and then spit it out as a form of gossip in a social gathering, that's just a waste of time. If you would have told me your laptop is open because you're watching porn, then I'd probably have come sit next to you.
I got a seat right here, brother.
Sophia, I'm sorry. It's just, yeah. So Nathan, what's going on, man? Working? How many units you carrying?
20.
You're in a rush, huh? Lots of regret there. Okay. You have money saved? You have a house? Planning to buy a house?
Not here.
Where? Iran?
Sounds nice.
No, it doesn't. But where? You ever been to Nevada City? It's very lush. Too much meth?
Yeah.
True. How about Auburn?
No.
No good?
No.
Why?
I said, I don't.
Well, I say Nevada City because you can buy a nice property for about maybe 700,000, 800,000. It's 5, 10, 15, 20 acres.
Build my compound.
What?
I could build my compound there.
You could. You could be the next David Koresh.
That's the plan.
Yeah. There's machine guns and tanks and helicopters and
We go to the compound.
I'll go to the next day.
like where? So, Sophia, have any questions? Nothing? Yeah.
Do you have something specific you want to discuss?
No. When the first time I ran the classroom, which was about some 30 some odd years ago, hello, Oscar. I took notes. And I took my lecture notes to the classroom. It just didn't feel right. You know, it's like you're cheating. You don't know if you should look at the students. You should look at your cheat notes. So you kind of feel like a counterfeit, you know? And so I said, screw this. Just wing it. And I've been winging it ever since.
This has always been your style.
I think so.
Feedback, question, feedback.
No. Before it was more like students talking, dialoguing. As you get older, you realize how useless that is. But, you know, I think you must also have things to say, you know. But for you to be able to say things that are meaningful, it means that you must have sat somewhere, thought about a few things, you know, to unpack things relatively well. You know, it's kind of like if you've seen that show on TV, Chopped. You know, I suppose every student is like this mystery basket. You know, they have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And inside the mystery basket, well, it can't cook itself. You know, you kind of throw the things out. And, you know, you sit back and you ask people, well, do you guys want to talk about anything? And that's the mystery that comes out. And the question is, as an instructor, as anyone, as a parent, as a friend, as a companion, do you have the proper tools, resources, where you can understand the question to some extent, the concepts? Can you inject some history to it? Can you inject some rationality to it? Can you inject some emotions to it? Can you make it creative, exciting? Can you make it into a porn, you know, where people can get some arousal, emotional arousal? And some people have that style. Other people are like my brother. You know, he sits home and he reads and researches for like hours. Then he goes to class and he says, well, today we're going to talk about A, B, C, D. And so, hello. It really depends on, you know, people's temperament, personality, the background.
So your brother is the professor as well?
Yeah, he teaches computer science, sociology, psychology.
Who became a teacher first? And
He
decided
did.
to do it together?
Yeah, he did. I was serving time, San Quentin.
So you were inspired.
Yeah. How about now, Sophia? You have anything to say? Talk about? Still? Okay. Sebastian.
I don't know, but give me a second to try.
Sure. Should I just wait or should I move on? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's really good that you're fasting, you know. I talk to my father every day. He says, so Amir, are you going to fast tomorrow? I said, Dad, no. How about like day after tomorrow? No. What happened to you? He asks. I became white. I'm just kidding. I said, I don't really know. You know, it's just like, you know, it's kind of like when you just start writing poetry for your wife or your husband. You know, birthday come and it goes and nothing, and Valentine's nothing, and Christmas nothing, and just like, just things get sucked out of you. So you're fasting. I should just give you an A for that. How about now, Sebastian? Okay. You know, this is quite useless, this class. But please.
So, kind of set this up. My friend is in a relationship. And, okay, I know.
No, it's exciting.
The question is basically, why do people? I'm gonna say it. Why do people like believe so much in religion that it goes against their own like wants or needs? Like why do they?
Well, look, there are days you don't like to sit in this class, and I don't blame you. There are days that you feel bored and frustrated. Instinctually, perhaps as a reaction, you want to pack up your stuff and leave. I want to go in the sun and just get a tan. You want to look like me. It is a nice day. But your religion is that you want to finish school, you want to get to a 4-year school, and the reason why you don't leave is fear. And you could say that your future becomes your religion, and in that particular tradition that you have built for yourself, or maybe other people have built for you, there's a good amount of excitement, hopes, dreams, as well as fear. So despite your body and your mind telling you leave the class, it's boring, your rational apparatus comes in and says, you know what, maybe I should just stick around to protect my future. And that's what religion does. You know, I mean, all of us in this class who have been in relationships will tell you, you know, you won't like walk away from the relationship, you know, but you have an altar you go to and you worship, which is, I'm getting older, smellier, uglier. What do I do with the guilt, with the shame? Good morning, Alex. You know, my kids, my parents. And so, you know, it's not so much about like Buddhism and Hinduism, it's just all of life is about that. You know, every branch in life has its own set of emotions, set of politics, fears, hopes. I mean, just a few minutes ago before everybody showed up, you know, I asked you what kind of a woman you want to go out with. You gave me your religious doctrine, which was, I don't want someone who's ugly. Great. I don't want someone who's like way overweight. Great. You don't want like Persians or Africans. That's what you said. But I can put stuff in your mouth. I mean, yeah. I mean, not stuff, but words. So, I mean, that's your doctrine. And so just in case you go out with, say, a Native American, then there's going to be some doubts, which is one of the features of all religions. What your parents going to say, like what's God going to say. So, hello, Leah. How are you doing? You know Ari, right? I dropped out of college and high school. Wouldn't show up to my classes. I'd be on the tennis court playing 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I see you here once in a while. It takes me back in time. I go home asking myself, why does Ari hate me so much that he doesn't show up to class? I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, I guess we're done.
Sorry.
What?
Someone smells good. I didn't smell it at first, but
But
sorry.
it can be Elham. She's fasting.
All right now.
Nathan? Anything? Elham? Leah? You were so quiet yesterday. I know, it happens. No. Yeah, Alex.
What are your thoughts about the concept of Ouroboros?
Who?
Ouroboros, the serpent that eats his own tails.
I suppose if it was just me and my wife in the Sahara Desert, at a certain point I'd probably like chop her to pieces and eat her. I mean, I don't really know.
That's okay. It just popped up on my For You page, and it was kind of cool concept. It's like a serpent that eats his own tails. I can more philosophical terms. Like every religion has it, where like one own self is his own self-destruction.
Yeah. It would probably be interesting to someone else, but I can't wrap my head around it. Sorry. It's a good question, though.
I read a comment that said, I believe wanting to fit in is an element of mental health and spiritual warfare.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
What the hell is this? All these bumper stickers. I'm sorry, can you repeat all of that? It sounded a little weird.
Says, I
Hello,
believe
Isabel.
wanting to fit in or like conform to other standards
Yeah, I speak English.
is is an element of mental health and spiritual warfare. Too heavy?
No, it's great that you have read it because I like the tone of your voice. But as phrases go,
It was a reference to what's going on about the like award ceremonies and people being duped in African American community. That's what it was in reference to. But I think in general, it applies, not just awards.
I'm not following you. Awards for what?
Okay. Like the Oscars, and we always have to give these, not we, but Black people always have to give these speeches, seem like every single year, because you can duped or not mentioned, not put in certain categories, or your movie is the best and then it loses. Things like that.
I stopped listening.
Well, give you the background. I don't watch award shows. I don't really either.
No, I mean, I just don't have a TV.
Okay.
I mean, my kids do, but I don't like my kids, so I don't want to sit with them and watch.
Stay
So,
away from the kids.
what?
Sister, stay away from the kids.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Henrietta Lacks, but I'll let it go.
Say again?
Henrietta Lacks, Gila cells, or still, but you probably don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
But, okay. You should read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, or watch the movie.
Why?
Her cells were used to advance science. Does anyone not know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
This is like Twilight Zone.
Oh. Well, anyway, there was a Black woman, and at Johns Hopkins, they took her cells without her consent, and her cells have been immortal. So it's been used to advance polio, a bunch of different vaccinations and things like that. And it's still going on today. So pharmaceutical companies has never compensated her family. This has been going on for decades. They finally won a case and said that one company has to pay them, but I think it's going to open up the door for.
Algebra was invented by an Arab. No one credits the Arab.
What is
Medicine was, I mean, look, the only reason why we have access to the Greek tradition was because of the Muslims. Nobody credits the Muslims. And I suppose my question is, why is that important?
Because one person is still around.
I know, but
Their family is still here.
why is it important? I mean, why should I care if an Arab is not given credit for his or her accomplishments?
Not necessarily giving credit, because everybody knows. If you like learn about the story or the sale, you would know. But compensated monetarily. You have a family that's struggling when pharmaceutical companies have made billions.
You know,
Like, should I be homeless on the street? Well, Marion Pinhouse.
you're entering the world of politics, of greed, of lust. I don't know if there's an antidote to that. It's not just about black people or white people or brown people. I mean,
Or take the race out of it. A woman, a person, cells were taken without their consent and used to advanced stuff, treatments that we've probably had in our lives.
is your anger justified? Yeah. Are you disappointed in human race? Absolutely. Do you think human beings can do better? Yeah. Given what human nature is and what it wants and what it does, are your expectations a little too high? I think so. You know, should Elon Musk have gazillion dollars? Probably not. Should Jeff Bezos control everything? Probably not. Should Mark Zuckerberg, own the entire planet? Probably not. The truth is, me as a tiny little insignificant person, the only thing I have power over is I can't fight the pharmaceutical companies who always come up with a brand new disease, and they also put a bottle of medicine or remedy next to it. I mean, dry leg syndrome or dry eye syndrome never existed for a million years, but they keep creating garbage. And they do people into thinking that they are sick in this way or that way. I mean, consider HDHD. I'm not saying that people don't have difficulties focusing on things, but when you're addicted to like shorts on YouTube, when life moves so fast, of course no one has patience to sit, myself included, to do anything for 10 minutes with a good amount of focus. And I suppose the only thing I can say, or at least my position is, I have a tiny little life. I have a tiny little life. The best I can do is just protect it. I can't fight the government. I can't fight Trump. I can't even fight the administrators here at Laney College. I mean, the chancellor here gets about $500,000 a year. Housing paid for, gas paid for, food probably paid for. Angela Davis, who doesn't live very far from me. Every time she goes to give a talk, she gets about $10,000 to $50,000 a year. I mean, a lecture, a talk, an hour talk. I can understand Angela was a force to reckon with when she was like 20 or 30 or 40, but at the age of 80, you're just, banking on your past. You're 80 now. You can hardly walk and remember things. Is that fair? I don't really know. Is there anything I can do? Probably not. So, is the world filled with injustice? Absolutely. I think you just need to kind of... Shit, I got a lot of things to complain about. And my country's being demolished now. Should I use this class to kind of vent? I probably could. Is it valuable for most of you? I mean, it may be, it's kind of like masturbating. It's great for like 5 minutes if you're lucky, or maybe 30 seconds. But at a certain point, the dust will settle and you just move on with your life. All right, so you've heard a few things about the lobbyists in Washington and the bombs that are being created in all these other countries entering or not entering into this scenario. It's irrelevant, really. Is it fair what happened to African Americans in this country? No. Is it fair that the only way India gets money from America is by making sure that they close their abortion clinics? No. Is it fair that Middle East has to be held hostage so that Western military bases, are housed there? Probably not. There's lots of injustice in this world. Is it fair that you have to sit there, stand here, simply because I got some useless, crummy degrees? Maybe you know more about life than I do. Is it fair that there is unequal power? No. Is it fair that you have to have an instructor like me? No. You probably want someone who's a bit more organized, comes to class with lecture notes. Anyone else? Let's have another bumper sticker.
I have one.
Allahu Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
I wrote it somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So
I don't mean to disrespect any of you, by the way. I really don't. I think your questions are great. It's just not interesting, yeah.
So why is it that us humans have this weird need of creating or looking after something or someone bigger, creating gods or...
I'll be back.
It's good to see you. If you need my office, let me know. It's good to see you, Leah. Yeah.
Yeah, so this need of believing in something, creating gods or ideas or praising something, why we never focus on our own, working on our own excellence or ourselves rather than, that always looking for something exterior.
Oscar, why do you get married?
Because I like to get the benefit of that. If there is
Sure.
any, if you
Well,
could
there
comment
is.
on any.
There is. I mean, initially you find someone attractive, you become a political animal, and when you spend a good amount of time with them, you fall in love. Then, stupidly enough, you propose, and they're even more stupid. They say yes. So you get married. Why can't you just love yourself? I mean, it's a stupid thing to say, but it's no different than the question that you raised. Why can't you just love yourself? Why didn't you have a companionship? Just be self-sufficient. The truth is, for some strange reason, life is not enough. Look, you're sitting in this class, right, Oscar? You're getting an A, 3 units. But no, that's not enough. You want to come to class and be entertained. You want to be inspired. You want to be excited. You want the class to be meaningful. Well, fuck all of that. Why do you need those things? For some strange reason, just sitting and getting an A is not enough for you. Getting up, brushing your teeth, having some Cheerios, coming to school and going to work. How sort of a life is that? At a certain point, you say, you know what? I want to believe in something. I want to do something that is different than the tables and chairs of life. I want meaning, man. Why do you think people cheat? It's not because they want to break up their marriage or relationship. Taking care of the kids, and then vacuuming, and then laundry, and then work, and then all the conflict, and then your own shit, and then her shit, and then the kids' shit, and then the politics of life. After a while, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years pass by, one day look yourself in the mirror and say, what the hell do I have left? Nothing. You're invisible to your kids, you're invisible to your companion, you're invisible to your boss, you're invisible in the classroom. And God damn it, you're a human being, man. You want to be seen, you want to be felt. And you go out there and some man or some woman or some animal looks at you and say, yes, I exist. Why do you need that? It's just the way we are, man. At least before, you get to be 40 and you die. I mean, 100 years ago. You get a toothache, no one can fix it. You just die. You have a stroke, you die. Heart disease, you die. Now, I mean, I have outlived my usefulness. I don't want to talk. I don't want to think. I don't want to write. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to be around my wife. I don't want to be around my kids. My dad is 93 and he's beginning to forget. My mom has cancer. She'll soon die. My brother is in life. My sister is her life. The truth is, from this point on, it's just a life of distraction, man. The only thing I pray for is to die in my sleep. The point I'm trying to make, Oscar, is sometimes you just have too much of life. And then when you have too much of life, at a certain point you say, what should I do with the next 20 years or 10 years? And the truth is, well, you know what? You have outlived your usefulness. Maybe you should do what Jesus did. I mean, that's after you have relatively completed a good amount of life, So you know what? Maybe I should just walk on a stage, give a riveting, exciting sermon that just pisses people off, and someone from the audience can just shoot you and you just die as a hero.
I tried that already.
No, the point, I guess, ultimately I'm trying to make is, who's that?
Put it on speaker.
I think it's to some extent great that you come to a place where you realize that life is not enough and you need more or you want more. It shows a great capacity on your part. That many of us are interested in just money, or many of us are just interested in coming to class and getting an A. You, on the other hand, you say, no, I'm not satisfied with just walking the classroom and just sitting there getting bored just to get a stupid A. I want the class to be meaningful. Now, there are 20 people in this classroom who don't really care for that. You're the one who cares, which means that there is something about you that these other people either don't have or are not yet at that stage to kind of be possessing that particular quality. And it's the not enoughness that drives evolution. And it's really, really great. I mean, sometimes this particular greed can be devastating. I mean, did Palestine really need to get destroyed? Probably not. Does Iran need to get destroyed because of few people's greed and political aspirations? Probably not. But is it what we do? Yeah. I mean, consider this incompetent group of people, organization we call the UN, a few days after World War II. It's there to keep peace amongst the countries. I mean, it does a lousy job, but nevertheless, it's like the Starfleet. If you've seen Star Trek, it's an organization that, makes sure that all these stars are working relatively harmoniously. And we create these organizations because we know that there is something evil about politics, something evil about human beings, and they need to be put on check at all times. The problem is a lot of people have to suffer. I just don't know if it's worth it. Anyways, yes, Alham. Ari?
What brings you happiness in life?
What?
What brings you happiness? If everything is so shit or everything.
First of all, I never said everything is shit. I said almost. I don't come from a culture where we were promised happiness. That didn't exist in my culture. It didn't exist in my language. It still doesn't. We don't have poetry that deals about happiness, or deals with happiness. We don't have literature that deals with happiness. In other words, whether you are physically poor or emotionally poor or spiritually poor, the more you're aware of that poverty, the more you express that poverty in ways that fit you. There is this rapper that I really, really like. My kids listen to him. He goes by NF. I don't know. Maybe I have the wrong name. And I compare his lyrics to, other rappers like Snoop Dogg and Eminem and the rest of them. And this guy is like just beyond all those people. And it's because his mom was a drug addict. His father left. He was addicted to a few things. And at a certain point, and it doesn't happen to everyone, but he was lucky enough to have probably the right physical environment, right temperament. And he became an artist. And his lyrics are really quite revolutionary. He talks about money and power and drugs in ways that I haven't heard any other artist, talk about. And sometimes you listen to the music and your body just automatically moves because the beat is so powerful. Now, it doesn't mean that just because your body moves, you're happy. It simply means that there is something really exciting about the music. About 99.9% of Persian poetry is dark, but this darkness has given birth to beautiful music, beautiful singing, beautiful dancing, beautiful calligraphy. If you look at the mosques in the Middle East, in Iran, calligraphy, Hello. I think perhaps what the better question would be, how do you adjust or readjust or redefine the concept of happiness? It's an example we've talked about in this class a few times. If I'm your brother and you and I have a great relationship, and I come to you and say, Ari, I just came back from the doctors, I got stage 4 cancer, 6 months to live. Is that a happy news for you? No. But will you be happy helping me out in the last few days of my life? Absolutely. The very fact that you're willing to sacrifice what you consider as entertainment, being around your friends, smoking, drinking, watching porn, taking classes, you sacrifice all those things and you come to my bedside and you help me out. Now, from a distance, someone would say, why the hell would you want to put yourself in such a miserable condition? Your brother's dying, there is no hope, just put him in hospice care. And you say, God damn it, no, that's my brother. I want to be there for the last few days. And all of a sudden, your vision of happiness, has gone through this baptism. It's no longer about drinking or smoking. Someone you love, you're going to lose this person soon. And before that day comes, you want to be around him as much as possible and do what little you can for him or her, And so I think pain has the power to redefine what happiness means, and the less pain you have suffered, the more shallow your definition of fun or happiness. The more you've gone through. This guy, Nathan here, he takes care of sick, old, dead people almost. It's a miserable job to have. I had a friend, Gene Coffey, retired now, but he worked at ICU, Sutter Hospital in Sacramento, and she would say, she would go home. She was married with a son. The first half hour when she would come home, she would just go into her closet and just cry for a good 45 minutes, just to get the stuff out, She knew she was mature enough not to contaminate her family with all the emotions that she had. And then once the emotions were released, she would come downstairs, cook and clean and, chat with her husband or with her kid, and that was it. But I think one of the nice things about cultures like India, like Africa, like the Middle East is that they have come to experience how traumatizing life really is. You lose a kid, you lose a parent, you're diagnosed with incurable disease, and your marriage falls apart, or you just have a bad relationship, or just politics of life, people just shitting on you on a daily basis, you have to, take a look at the pictures that come out of Gaza in Palestine. there is not a goddamn single structure that's standing. Everything has been toppled. You know, when you come from that particular background, you realize that you have no choice but to create literature, music, poetry, any work of art that deals with the tragedies of life. You didn't ask for this, and yet someone, a country, a culture, a person who is greedy enough, unreflective enough, gives himself or themselves the right to come and just topple every part of your life and culture. And so one of the nice things about these cultures that have been traumatized by life, punished by life in a very, very cruel and brutal way, is that they don't have an American version of happiness. It just doesn't exist. It's only when the country becomes industrialized, to some extent self-sufficient, where entertainment takes over. And entertainment exists at the very shallow part of, I suppose, the reptilian mind of the human being, because thinking is tough, reflecting is tough. They're painful things to do. Watching someone die is tough. Is it true that if my father gets sick, at a certain point I'm going to say, God, please take him, just kill my father? Because at a certain point, you realize that you're helpless, and being exposed to pain and sickness and death, it slowly calcifies you. You stop feeling. And when you stop feeling, you look at the person in a very objective way and you say, you know what, there isn't anything that anyone can do for this person. They need to die. Be it your father, be it your mother, be it a stranger, it doesn't really matter. So, the other thing you need to understand about happiness is America is about 250 years old. It's like, a 2-year-old. If you ask a 2-year-old, what makes you happy? Bicycle, or ice cream, or pornography. That's what a 2-year-old wants. If you ask a 70-year-old, what's happiness? Walking from here to the bathroom, pulling down my pants and being able to pee without any pain, having a good night's sleep. And you realize that why is it that the 70-year-old man does not, define happiness as ice cream? Not that they won't have ice cream, but they've lived a while. They know that, the sort of pleasures or happiness that a 2-year-old is pursuing is very, very different than the sort of happiness that a 70-year-old wants. You know what the function of this class is, Ari? It's here to make you miserable. And by that I mean it's here to make you think a little bit. And thinking by itself will have the power to make you miserable. Now, the nice thing about you is that you're young and your life is filled with distractions. You're going to be miserable for 5 minutes, maybe 5 hours. And then you'll forget until you come back, if, of course, you decide to come back here on Tuesday. If you don't decide to come back, then you can be happy for another couple of days, again, until you come back. Then I'll kind of look at you a little bit, pound some ideas in your thick skull. Hopefully, you'll get some emotional arousal from it, and then you'll walk away feeling a little heavy. So. Alham. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Have you ever been to New York? There is this park, and it has all these chess tables, and there's this guy, his name is John. He's on YouTube, by the way. So the last couple of times we went there, we ran into John. And they're there to hustle you, to make a few bucks. And it's a good thing, by the way. Long story short, you should go there and play chess with John. He has a foul mouth, but he means well.
Which part? Washington Square?
There you go. Yeah, Washington, it's a great park. Yeah. We ran into, what's that guy's name? Tia? The guy who got slapped at the Oscars by Will.
No, Chris Rock.
Oh, Chris, yeah. We saw him. The poor guy was like, just sitting. And I looked at my sister and said, Sarah, that's Chris Rock. Says, no. Yeah, look at him. And my sister, she's tinier than you are. And, but she's like a bulldozer. I mean, her husband is 9'5", you know. But my sister gives him so much shit. You know, even though he's a tall man, he's reduced to like an ounce of a human being. As we say in Persian, my sister is like a pepper. It's very, very tiny, but once you put it in your mouth, you need to call 911. That's how my sister is. And that's how perhaps all women are. Anyway, so she says, are you Chris? Chris Rock? And he kind of is just jolted out of himself. Yeah. We want to take a picture with you. Okay. 50 of us, you know? Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. You know why I'm this way? This is what happens when you just don't give a shit anymore. Go ahead.
My question is, why are people selective when it comes to it? Like, a Christian kind of bases off.
If you come to my office and you say, Amir, I haven't been to your class and haven't done any work, I look at you. You're wearing the hijab. And I ask you, can you recite for me Surah Fatiha? You say, yes. Are you fasting? Yes. You're like my sister. I can't fail my sister. I'm not going to look at you as American. I'm going to look at you as a Persian, even though you're Arab but want to be Persian. You know? Am I going to be selective? Absolutely. If Oscar was to come to my office? No. All of a sudden I'm going to say, meritocracy. It's the American way. Freedom. Individuality. You know? You decided not to show up to class. It's not my fault. It was your choice not to do the assignments, not my fault. It was your choice to do AI, not my fault. And you're old enough to know that stuff better. You, on the other hand, I don't give a shit if 150% of your essays were AI generated. I'm going to give you an A. Now, is that fair? No. Is it moral, ethical? No. Do I give a shit? No. Are you still going to get an A? Yeah. But I also have this hidden agenda. I have a son. He's 22. You know? You and I become friendly. You introduce me to your parents. I come there with my son. The two of you will exchange some glances. He'll wink at you. You'll wink him back. You know? And then your father says, you know, my daughter goes to Laney. Is that where you are? Yeah. She needs like 60 units. And I'll give them to you for free. You know, this is the Middle East. We barter. So you were saying, I'm sorry. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I was kind of like going into like the situation that's going on in Gaza and Palestine, and then comparing it to, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it on TikTok or on Instagram, but the monkey punch. It was this little tiny big monkey. Everyone feels so bad and being bullied by a bunch of other monkeys. And it brought so much, it got like, I think, over 1 billion views from my video. And it's kind of like, why are people like, it's a monkey? And then comparing it to a kid. There's so many lives that have been taken and homes that have been taken. Why are we choosing to empathize over one, you know? That like, I guess supposedly is adopted now or is taken care of. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, why do people choose to feel bad about this but not about this?
Sometimes you go to grab yourself a cup of coffee and there are these young kids standing with all these flyers. Give us $5 to save the dolphins. Or $25 for the whales because they're bigger animals. You kind of sit back and you say, who gives a fucking shit about dolphins? And there are poor people everywhere. People are starving, dying, no healthcare, nothing. And you want me to like care for a fucking whale? You know, what's wrong with you? And I think it's something that Friedrich Nietzsche had kind of talked about briefly, that you like to help animals because deep down you really hate people. That's one branch of it. The other is, I mean, look at our movies, look at our sports, look at the things we gravitate towards, you know. After a while, you find yourself sitting by your computer and watching 5 hours of WWF or UFC, where they get, you know, beat the crap out of them. And you see blood coming out, gushing out, and actually, despite the fact that you're disgusted, you enjoy it. It's a very strange thing. And the point I suppose I'm trying to make is, you know, advertisement is a way to suspend your intelligence, your thinking, your reflecting, your feeling. And once you're just shell of a human being, it doesn't matter what's thrown at you. You're just not going to feel anymore. I mean, I don't think you understand the function of consumerism and capitalism. We don't know what selfishness does to the human psyche and the powers to be empathetic. I mean, you have an entire system behind closed doors making sure that you as a human being remain hostage to a set of advertisements that dehumanize you at so many different levels. I mean, it's, look, ask anyone who has had a sick parent, and we'll tell you. Initially, when your mom comes to you and says, I have cancer, I'm going to die, you really feel sad. I mean, you want to drop everything and just attend to them, and you do. But day in and day out, after a while, you realize it's very, very exhausting. You know, do you have children? Of course not. How could you? One of the things we'll tell you, they're born. You love them. You're with them 24/7. Little by little, it just becomes 20 hours, 7 days a week. Then it becomes like 15 hours a day. Then it becomes like 10 hours a day. Then at a certain point, you say, it's taking too long. They need to be 18 by tomorrow so they could leave the house. And, you know, someone would say, well, aren't you worried about, you know, their future? And the answer is yes, but, you know, I'm just tired now. I mean, there's only so much capacity you have inside you for empathy. You have to understand empathy is like, it lives inside a bucket inside you. Once its fuel runs out, you can no longer feel. That's not the way we function. There are limitations to everything. It's good that you are the way you are. Because, you know, young people are dreamers, and it's great because it creates revolutions, uprisings, and you want to like fix the world, and it's a beautiful thing. As you get a little older and you become a bit more jagged, you realize most of those, Leah, hi. Most of dreams are just, you know, they're just childish dreams. Life is tough, find ways to survive it.
When you do that, what is,
I need to pee, but I can't. I mean, it's like an intellectual thing. No, I mean, look, I mean, these are like difficult questions. You talk about justice. How do you approach it in a world that just doesn't give a shit about any goddamn thing? Black Lives Matter. Who said so? I mean, look around you. Homelessness. Let's get rid of it. Look around you. No one gives a shit. I mean, look, if you come to my office and say, I'm failing this class, I've been in this shithole for 30 plus years. I no longer care about your failing or passing this class. That's what life does. Do I want to be better? Yeah. Is that my like ideal? Yeah. But you're dealing with your organism that has certain capacities and limitations. Can I overcome them? I can make some modicum adjustments depending on my mood, day, time, who I'm dealing with. But the truth is, this is the way I am. You know, I used to have people over my house, students, for 30 years almost. 5 days out of the week. Now I look back and say, what the fuck was wrong with you? Are you crazy? Now when someone knocks on my door, I hide. I don't even open it. So, do you like kissing people?
I used to.
Oh my God, you're such a bore. Now, so here's the thing between knowing a few things and not knowing. Not knowing creates fantasies. Knowing will create nightmares. Go on YouTube and look for clips that have to do with human saliva.
Exactly.
You know, and what happens when two people's tongues are wrestling to see which tongue eventually will dominate and win the war, okay? And after having seen a few clips of what sorts of shit live inside the saliva and tongue, say, oh my God. And I gotta tell you, next time with this knowledge, go kiss someone now. And yeah, there are moments where, you know, you're not thinking, remembering what you witnessed on this clip, but then all of a sudden, you know, it's like Satan coming down. Here I am, and you're kissing, you pull out your tongue, and you just push yourself away or pull yourself away, and you come and say, what's wrong with you? You're disgusting. What did I do? You're a human being, you're disgusting. I'm an angel. You're disgusting, you're a human being. And that's the thing. You know, reality really sucks in many ways, but it's also profoundly liberating. You know, knowing that your husband doesn't love you because of A, B, C, D, I mean, facts of life, it's devastating. Your history goes away, your hopes and dreams go away, your past all of a sudden is erased. You know, at the same time you say, well, you know, maybe I should just be with this guy, not because I love him, but because I know that love is a hoax, it's a trick. This magic trick played on us by the gods. So, Oliver. No. Alyssa? Is it Alyssa? Yeah, nothing? Yeah, Tyler.
Well, I was revisiting The Stranger recently.
Oh, The Stranger by Albert Camus.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I was wondering, in the face of a cold indifferent universe, is that there is ethical absolutism really just performatism?
I'm sorry, was that a question?
Is ethical absolutism just performative? Yeah.
Let me not tackle your question, but maybe just talk about how pathetic Albert Camus was, or how pathetic any one of us are, really. You're best friends with Jean-Paul Sartre. You try to convince him that the French are wrong being so cruel to Algerians, dominating them, punishing them for no good reason, really, simply because they want to remain on the top. Sartre doesn't buy it, you know, and he has this stupid philosophy that human beings have the power to make and remake or reinvent themselves, to be authentic, creative, you know, all this existential bullshit. Why did we create Harry Potters? Why did we create Lord of the Rings? Why did we create The Stranger, The Plague? Why did we create No Exit? Why did we write? when the world doesn't really need literature anymore, the world needs action. What else can you do? You know, and the stranger, you know, he goes to this funeral, right, for his mom. And he doesn't really care to go. And when he goes there, it's hot. He wants to get himself a cafe latte. He's looking around to see if he can find a woman to sleep with. Eventually, you know, he finds Marie. And Mary looks at him and says, you know, our neighbor has a dog and the leash around his neck is so tight the dog is choking. Can you call the cops or something? I don't really give a shit. Mary asks him, will you marry me? You know, you want to get married, fine. You want to get married, fine. I don't really care. You know, even when he shoots the Arab, I didn't really do it. It wasn't my fault. You know, my finger all of a sudden just moved and you know, the bullet went out of his gun and this Arab died. It's not my fault. And there comes a point where Rousseau is so, I mean, he's pushed by the priest. And he comes to realize that when he's in the court, he's being judged relentlessly, brutally, by, you know, the entire community in the courthouse. He says, why are people judging me? I mean, imagine you raise your hand and you ask a question and I make fun of it, you know? And you go home saying, why was I disrespected? Why was I judged? Why was I devalued? I guess the point I'm trying to make is poor Camus. It's a man who feels so much. And he feels so much because he sees so much. And seeing it by itself is not enough. He sees, he feels, but he also thinks. But he can't stand up to the French government. The only thing that a pathetic man like him can do is kind of like, what's his name? James, yeah, the black guy, James.
I say James Earl Jones. I know that's not right.
James Baldwin. You know, and what can he do? You know, he runs to France because he can't deal with the fact that his father is a religious man and he's gay. He doesn't know how to break the news to him. He doesn't even know if his sexuality, what he feels is actually right for him or not. If he really understands who and what he is, he goes and sits amongst the artists and comes back. You know, shit, read history, man. I mean, Jesus, with all of his might, could he convert anyone? No. Moses, eventually he said, fuck my people. Here, Aaron, here's my staff. I'm leaving. You guys are on your own. You know, and you realize all these human heroes, they couldn't do anything with language. I mean, sermons are great for moments of inspiration. It's like, you know, you feeling lonely and pathetic, you go watch some porn, you know, give yourself some pleasure, and all the while assuming that just because you're able to play with yourself, you're in this great relationship with Angelina Jolie, you know. And then the pleasure goes away and you're back in this first, you know, the point you began everything with, which is nowhere really. It's, I think out of desperation you sit and write. I don't know if you have a journal or not. You have hundreds of people in this room. Find someone, spend time with them, become friends with them, and then tell them your secrets. There comes a point you say, no, you know, I'm just going to write. And it's a very pathetic way. I mean, it's not pathetic in a negative way, but I think as human beings, we have such a, we are so helpless in so many different ways, you know. And I don't think you should too much read in the story, Plague or Stranger. You have to look at Camus himself. Why would someone write? Why would someone think? Why would someone become like a James Baldwin and spend his entire life, you know, just going around and getting into like philosophical debates, like Noam Chomsky, like Cornel West. They're great, don't get me wrong, they're great. But it is really an aspect of how helpless and how needy and how desperate we are to kind of express what we see. But there isn't much we can do about the things that we see. I don't know about ethics. You know, I think one of the most inspiring and insightful things I've ever heard Donald Trump say, which is no different than what Jesus Christ said, is that I am my own morality. You know, it's only people with little to no power that they're so gung-ho about being ethical and moral. If you're Brad Pitt, there are never going to be shortage of women around you. Your promises, they mean nothing. You have no fear if Melania leaves you. Melania leaves you, well, there is Lenia sitting next to you. You know, people like us, we have no choice. And it's something that Jesus talked about in the Gospel of Judas. You know, his disciples worship the wrong God. This world was created by the wrong gods. We have the wrong emotions. We have the wrong deities. We have the wrong everything. And so when his disciples are fasting, Jesus just laughs. When they're worshiping, he laughs. He says, you guys don't really understand. And, you know, I think for the sort of people that we are down here, the sort of station that we occupy, maybe this is the best that we can do. Maybe we have no choice but to be moral and ethical. Maybe we have no choice but to stop at traffic lights. You know, when he has power, he turns on the siren and he runs through the traffic lights. He doesn't care. He zigzags through the traffic. That's a lot of power. That's like crossing a lot of lines. That's maybe potential accidents to be had because of him. But his power, I don't care. I have someone who's dying in the back of this truck. And that's anyone with an intense agenda. Hitler had an agenda. Moses had an agenda. And whenever you have an agenda, that creates your moral norms. If thousands of Egyptians die in the Red Sea, fuck them, let them die. You know. Leah? Ari? Oliver? Sophia? Honest? Anything?
No, not really.
Anything? What do you say? Enjoy the journey. So let me tell you a little bit about this cup. One of my very, 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 very good friends was chronically depressed, 30 years, 40 years. He went to therapy, he was on medication, did electric shock therapy, therapists. A lot of people tried to do a lot of things for her. She did yoga, self-help, audios, books. They got her this cup, or someone got her this cup. Enjoy the journey. Yeah, you're depressed by your journey towards happiness. Just enjoy the journey, you know, all the ups and downs. Fucking ways we try to pacify people. We call him, he doesn't answer. Call him again, he doesn't answer. Call him again, he doesn't answer. We go to his place and he shot himself. So much for enjoying the journey. You know, you have to be really You have to care for bumper stickers, what they say, and how they try to pacify us. There is nothing to enjoy on the journey. It's only when the journey has ended and when you're able and you've reached a place of prosperity. You know, divorce is a fucking tragedy. And whoever is like going through the divorce, to tell them enjoy the journey is like telling them fuck you. But then speak to the person if they have recovered, like 10 years later. Say, yes, it was really, really tough. And I drank and I smoked and I, tried to harm myself. But little by little, the clouds went away and I saw more of the sun. And 10 years later, say, yes. Think back now, all the wisdom and insight and maturity that lives inside me now is because of what I went through. Now that is a good cup to give to this person who has reached a relatively good conclusion. But someone who's going through cancer, divorce, a parent died, a pet died, a sibling died, it's an offensive thing to say to them. It's nothing to enjoy. You guys should be miserable. Okay, Ilham? You've never watched Spider-Man, the first one, have you? Near the end of the movie, misery, misery, misery. It was spoken, these words of wisdom, by the Green Goblet. Are you leaving?
Oh, time class over.
Oh.
10:15.
I had a friend many years ago.
Those so met you.
And when we went to his house, he covered all the doors and windows with carpets, Persian carpets. But there was something about this man, he would just, you ask him like a question, like, why is this bug this way? And he would talk to you about the bug and how this bug was created and what it does and what it doesn't do for the next 15 hours in a way that just spellbounds you, And they go there at 5 in the afternoon or evening. The next thing we know, it's like 12 in the afternoon. It's like time disappears. So listen, many apologies for today's class, as well as Tuesday's class, last week and all the weeks prior. I hope you have a very happy weekend, that no misery enters your life. Have a good day. Stay well. Thank you. Thank you, mate. Thank you.